Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to our May the 12th, 2026 regular council meeting. Pledge allegiance, Mr. Russell.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Everybody ready? Consent agenda, Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir. On the consent agenda this evening is amendment to Section 8.20, military leave of the Personnel Policy and Employee Handbook, resolution adopting the FY 2027 through 2031 Capital Improvement Plan, paid bills, and minutes of previous meetings.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Special recognition. Recognition of Culpeper Parking Authority member John P. Flanagan, 23 years of service to the town of Culpeper. All right, Mr. Flanagan, you come forward, and Mr. Ramikis. Gotta be official. All right. Mr. Flanagan, we really appreciate your 23 years of service to the town. Anything we can do and help you in the future, just let us know.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Mr. Ramikis?
Okay, a service award presented to John P. Flanagan, Culpeper Parking Authority. In recognition of your personal commitment, dedication, and exceptional service to the town, May 13th, 2003. Remember that? Yes, I do. To May 31st, 2026. With our sincere appreciation and best wishes for your continued success in all future endeavors, the Mayor and Town Council, Town of Culpeper, Virginia, May 12th, 2026.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Oh, Lord. Must be the weather. Public forum. Members of the public may address council on matters related to town government issues at this time. Please state your name and address for the record. Each speaker shall have 3 minutes and shall comply with citizen participation policy. Groups are requested to have a spokesperson. Questions should be directed to the mayor. Anyone would like to speak this time? Well, hold up, wait 1 second. Is Mrs. Law Sharp here? No? All right, you can come on up, sir.
Good evening. I am Kurt Christensen from the Richardsville and the Jeff Stevensburg Magisterial District of the county. First of all, I'd like to say I like that I see 3 gentlemen here not wearing ties. That would be very popular in Richardsville, so thank you very much. First of all, I recently observed by computer at home much of a county board of supervisors and town council meeting on the future of the county courthouse. I think both the town and county had some constructive ideas on how to proceed. My own interest here, I want to mention that the combination of COVID and high technology and digitized records has greatly reduced the needs for citizens to physically visit the courthouse. Deeds of real property are virtually always today all recorded from a lawyer's office electronically without the need to physically visit the courthouse. Since most all county property records are digitized, Citizens can pay a modest fee each year and access these property records from their laptops in their home, business, or while on vacation. Also, an increasing number of civil court proceedings are done virtually, again, reducing the demand to physically visit courthouse buildings. I think the government's doing a good job on this. These are exciting trends, and they'll increase as artificial intelligence and digitization are more widely adopted. As a result, it's wise for the town council and the board to move slowly on plans to build a new courthouse. The needs for bricks and mortar is changing rapidly, and it's being reduced. Also, there was a discussion at that meeting on what the threshold is for voter referendum, and as a citizen and a voter and a taxpayer, I think it's imperative that we maximize the referendum process here. Remember, several years ago, there was a plan to have a, recreation facility. Not only did it lose, it lost to West Fairfax. So sometimes policymakers are not completely in sync with the public. So in this particular case, any plans for a new courthouse should be done by voter referendum. And one of the questions on the ballot should be none of the above. There should be no biases built into the referendum process. The consultant now has a bias because it's all about building more things. They get paid on building things. The idea of going slow in a timeout is not something government always does all that well. So I thank you for your indulgence here, and again, let's go slow. Let's give people the option of a timeout, none of the above. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One other final thing, housekeeping thing. When I watched that meeting at home, it didn't have this kind of configuration, so I only got to see the people at the front of the room by the camera. I couldn't tell that most of the councilmen were there. I heard voices, but I didn't see them, so if I were in your shoes in a future meeting that's televised, I'd have it like this so those of us in the public could see who's there, because I couldn't tell. And it looked like most of you guys and gals weren't there, and you were. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up.
Hi, my name is Brad Garner. I'm a resident of Brandy Station in the county. I am here to speak about a proposed development that is coming before the Planning Commission next week, and I just want to make sure that it is on the radar of the town and of the council and the citizens and the mayor. The property is the Zeuswin Farm property. It is shown as a growth area in the comprehensive plan as a mixed-use planned unit development. And it's a very important, very highly visible property in the town, and it could be very important to the town's future. And I just want to make sure that it's on everyone's radar that this is coming up for discussion at the Planning Commission meeting next week.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Last call. Public forum is closed at this time. All right, Mr. Short.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I move that council reappoint Chris Hamilton and Jessica Amos to the Architectural Review Board for new four-year terms that begin June 1, 2026 and expire May 31st, 2030. And I move that council reappoint Christine Daly and Joshua Headley to the Culpeper Parking Authority for new four-year terms that begin June 1, 2026 and expire May 31, 2030.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. All right. Resolution related to the 2016 bonds have.
Good evening. I'm going to present some information regarding the partial cash defeasance of 2016 bonds. As you've seen from monthly financial reports. The current town general obligation bonds total $18.2 million, of which $3.1,085,000 are general fund allocated, and amounts to pay off those principal portions of the bonds have been reserved in the town unassigned fund balance over the years in accordance with the financial roadmap that the town manager and I have presented to council starting back in 2019. Of that total $18.2 million, we have two outstanding debt series. The first is the 2016 debt series, and those bonds are primarily refundings of prior 2008 and 2010 bonds, and that total is $10.5 million. And then there's the 2020 debt series for a total of $7.6 million, so that comprises the total. The partial defeasance that we're talking about, at least preliminarily from the financial roadmap, was dealing specifically with the general fund portion of the bonds, the $3,185,000. The 2016 series debt primarily carried interest from 2 to 5% over the 20-year term of the debt, but currently primarily outstanding are 4 and 5% notes. The 2020 series, again, that was right at the start of the pandemic, had a very favorable interest rate of 1.4%, meaning that as we look at paying down the debt, we would want to focus primarily on the higher interest rate debt and not the lower interest rate debt, because our current portfolio yields approximately 3.5%, so it would be more advantageous to pay down the higher debt and continue to carry the lower debt because we can earn more interest on the funds that we're holding in the portfolio. As a result of the defeasance, and defeasance, by the way, is a fancy financial term for paying down debt, if you will, and that will generate, the defeasance itself will generate overall to the town approximately $360,000 in interest expense savings, less transaction costs to the attorneys, and also having to work with the DTC and our financial advisors, about 10 to 15%. And the town will recognize overall a net savings in excess of $300,000 by doing so. You saw in the prior slide the 2016 series debt had $10.5 million total outstanding, and again, we were talking primarily about the general fund portion. When we look at the next fiscal year, we pay principal and interest semi-annually in August and February. So on August 1st, there's going to be a pay down, and the general fund pay down will be $80,000. And so in the right-hand column, you see there the debt that we're talking about, including in the defeasance on August 1st, totaling $3,430,000. Now, earlier I mentioned that we were only focusing on the general fund portion of the debt, and when we looked at the remaining outstanding debt, we saw the water fund had $15,000, made sense to pay that off. Light and power fund, electric fund had $350,000 outstanding, so it makes sense to pay that off because there are sufficient funds remaining in those reserves for those funds, so it makes sense to pay that debt now, again, because it's at the higher interest rate. The wastewater fund is on there, and if you recall back a couple of slides, the general fund had both 2016 and 2020 debt because we've stated that the 2020 debt is a lower interest rate. We don't want to pay that off, so what we're looking to do is reallocate some of the wastewater fund debt with the general fund debt so that they stay whole in total, but we pay down higher 4 and 5% interest rate debt from the wastewater fund of $2,790,000, and that's the total of $3,430,000. Just to do some math so that everybody's clear, especially even myself, we stated before that the general fund has current debt of $3,185,000. On a previous slide, we stated that the general fund is going to have debt service on August 1st of $80,000, so we reduced that amount. We're going to add in the light and power, $350,000, the water fund, $15,000, and there's a $40,000 differential that I have to make up between the general fund and the wastewater fund as we reallocate that debt. So the general fund will actually make that debt service payment in February. And so as a result of this calculation, the total defeasance amount will be $3,430,000. This is a slide that was presented by our financial advisors Davenport at the Finance Committee meeting last month, and just showing all the remaining payments of the 2016 debt obligation. And, you know, the highlighted boxes are the ones that are going to be early paid. So in the upper left, the general fund, $275,000. The lower left, the sewer fund will be $2,790,000. The upper right, water fund, $15,000. And the electric fund in the green there for $350,000. So the remaining 2016 debt after the defeasance will be the 2031 to 2037 sewer fund payments that will have to be made as those years come due. And this is another slide from the Davenport presentation to the Finance Committee, just showing the town's comparative status of its unassigned fund balance as compared to other localities and towns within the local Northern Virginia region and statewide. And at the top, you'll see that the town's 2025 audit, we carry a 54% unassigned fund balance to our general fund expenditures, which is exceptionally well. And even after the pay down of the debt, the defeasance, we'll still be looking at a 44% balance. You'll see the median is 56.27 statewide, and you'll see our comparatives to other localities in Northern Virginia and statewide, including smaller localities like Middleburg and Purcellville versus larger localities like Herndon, Blacksburg, and Leesburg down towards the bottom. What this demonstrates is that the town has a reserve policy for general fund unassigned fund balance, minimum of 15%, so that's the red line, so you can see we're well in excess of that. The town's reserve policy then declares an optimal reserve balance of 30%, which is the yellow gold line, and you can see we're still well north of that. And then we carry additional reserves beyond those amounts for various things to keep the town's financial health in good standing, in addition to other reserves that we carry, such as our strategic budget stabilization reserves and our major capital improvement fund. And so finally with that, the financial impact I've already stated will be approximately $300,000, a little north of $300,000 worth of overall savings on the transaction town-wide. One thing to note is that with the reallocation of debt between the general fund and the wastewater fund will have an advanced $900,000 payment that it needs to make in this fiscal year because it had been carrying the 2020 debt, and it's going to swap it out for the 2016 debt, and the 2020 debt gets paid in February. So there'll be a swapping. There'll be an extra $900,000 the wastewater fund will absorb this year, but it will make that amount up, and it will be whole between 2028 and 2031, and we believe their reserves can withstand that amount. The recommendation is that Council adopts Resolution R 2026007, authorizing the partial cash defeasance of 2016 bonds in the amount of $3,430,000 on August 1st, 2026. Further, Council authorizes town manager or his designee to work with financial advisors Davenport and Company and bond counsel Sands Anderson to administratively complete the transaction as stated in the resolution. I move the recommendation.
Could I, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Councilman Bronson. Yeah, I was hoping for a little Q&A before we went into a little question and answer before we went into the motion. I have a question.
The discussion is after the second.
No, I just had a
First and
question.
second now, I ask
I-
any discussion.
I don't have, this is not a discussion, I just have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
okay. So, as far as the general fund is concerned, it will be debt-free?
Yes, the general fund will be debt-free. There is, as I mentioned in a prior slide, a $40,000 payment that has to be made on February 1st. But absent that $40,000, the significant portion of the general fund debt will be fully paid off on August 1st.
Thank you. I just want to point that out.
Thank you. All right, I got a motion and I got a
Mr. Mayor,
second. Any discussion?
yes.
All right, go ahead.
I would like to give a big shout out to Chris. It's under his leadership and started also with Mayor Ollinger, and then all of us have come alongside in different parts through this whole process to get us to a point where we are going to be debt-free. And I was just kind of looking back over the history, and we've done this without raising taxes since 2014.
Since 1999.
Well, I'm talking about the meals tax came in then. Came in, that was a tax increase.
Anyone?
So anyway, just wanted to just give a big shout out to everyone at this dais, and town manager in particular, just thank you. And thank you that we have a serious finance director now, and really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. All right. Thank you,
Good.
Thank you, Hal. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Dyke?
Aye.
Councilmember Ollinger?
Aye.
Mayor Reeves?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramikis?
Aye.
Councilmember Russell?
Aye.
Councilmember Schmidt?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Short?
Aye.
Councilmember Sternberg?
Aye.
And Councilmember Yao? The motion carries.
All right. FY 26, FY 27 budget. Mr. Manager, you have the floor at this time.
Yes, sir. First item, 10.2, resolution imposing and levying taxes for FY '27. The current tax rate is 6.1 cents per hundred. There's no increase recommended with this budget, and the next reassessment is FY '28. The recommendation is that council adopt resolution number R 2026-8, imposing and levying taxes for FY 2027 and authorizing the mayor and town clerk to execute the documents.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Ollinger?
Aye.
Mayor Reeves?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramikis?
Aye.
Councilmember Russell?
Aye.
Councilmember Schmidt?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Short?
Aye.
Councilmember Sternberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Yao? Councilmember Dyke?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Next item is 10.3, resolution setting FY '27 electric rates. In summary, this includes a 6% rate increase. This rate increase will result in an $8.37 per month rate increase for a typical 1,000 kilowatt hour customer. That's a typical residential customer. In addition, residential net metering credit for solar will be increased from 0.07427 per kilowatt hour to 0.10874 per kilowatt hour, and that's based on an annual review of the prior year's actual power purchase cost. The recommendation is that council adopt resolution R 2026-9, setting the electric rates effective July 1st, 2026, and authorize the mayor and town clerk to execute the documents.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Reeves?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramikis?
Aye.
Councilmember Russell?
No.
Councilmember Schmidt?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Short?
Aye.
Councilmember Sternberg?
No.
Councilmember Yao?
Aye.
Councilmember Dyke?
Aye.
Councilmember Ollinger?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Next item is 10.4, resolution setting FY '27 water and sewer rates, resolution setting water meter service fee, and resolution setting tap privilege assessment fee. In summary, this includes a 3% rate increase for both water and wastewater. The water rate increase will result in a $1.12 per month increase for a typical 5,000 gallon per month residential customer. And for wastewater, that cost is a $1.34 per month increase for a typical 5,000 gallon per month wastewater customer. In addition, the recommendation is to increase the 5/8 inch meter water and sewer tap privilege fee, water from $6,500 to $7,000, and sewer from $10,000 to $12,000. The recommendation is that council adopt resolution number R 2026-10, setting the FY '27 water and sewer rates, resolution number R 2026-11, setting the water meter service fees, and resolution number R 2026-12, setting the water and sewer tap privilege assessment fee, and authorize the mayor and town clerk to execute the documents.
So moved. Second?
Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes,
I'd just like
Mr.
to say, this is the reason why we're able to be debt-free, is because we run our enterprises like a business.
Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Ramikis?
Aye.
Councilmember Russell?
No.
Councilmember Schmidt?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Short?
Aye.
Councilmember Sternberg?
No.
Councilmember Yao?
Aye.
Councilmember Dyke?
Aye.
Councilmember Olinger?
Aye.
Mayor Reeves?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Next item is 10.5, FY '27 fine and fee schedule. It includes various changes as highlighted in the proposed fine and fee schedule. The recommendation is that council approve the schedule of fine and fees effective July 1st, 2026, and authorize the town clerk to execute the documents.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Russell?
Aye.
Councilmember Schmidt?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Short?
Aye.
Councilmember Sternberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Yao?
Aye.
Councilmember Dyke?
Aye.
Councilmember Olinger?
Aye.
Mayor Reeves?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramikis?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item is 10.6, resolution adopting the FY '27 budget. The recommendation is that council adopt resolution number R 2026-13, adopting the FY '27 budget totaling $68,564,623, and authorize the mayor and town clerk to execute the documents.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Schmidt?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Short?
Aye.
Councilmember Sternberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Yao?
Aye.
Councilmember Dyke?
Aye.
Councilmember Olinger?
Aye.
Mayor Reeves?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramikis?
Aye.
Councilmember Russell?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item, 10.7, resolution approving the FY '27 employee classification plan and salary wage scale. The recommendation is that council adopt resolution number R 2026-14, approving the FY 2027 employee classification plan, and authorize the mayor and town clerk to execute the document.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Short?
Aye.
Councilmember Sternberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Yao?
Aye.
Councilmember Dyke?
Aye.
Councilmember Olinger?
Aye.
Mayor Reeves?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramikis?
Aye.
Councilmember Russell?
Aye.
Councilmember Schmidt?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Next item is 10.8, resolution appropriating the FY '27 budget. The recommendation is that council adopt resolution number R 2026-15, appropriating the FY '27 budget totaling $68,564,623, and authorize the mayor and town clerk to execute the document.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Sternberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Yao?
Aye.
Councilmember Dyke?
Aye.
Councilmember Olinger?
Aye.
Mayor Reeves?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramikis?
Aye.
Councilmember Russell?
Aye.
Councilmember Schmidt?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Short?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item is 10.9, resolution for parking authority appropriations. The recommendation is that council adopt resolution number R 2026-16 for FY '27 Culpeper Parking Authority appropriations totaling $75,150, and authorize the mayor and town clerk to execute the document.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Yao?
Aye.
Councilmember Dyke?
Aye.
Councilmember Olinger?
Aye.
Mayor Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Ramikis.
Aye.
Councilmember Russell.
Aye.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Short.
Aye.
Councilmember Sternberg.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item is 10.10, approval of transfer to strategic reserves. With the transfer of $114,000, the Budget Stabilization Fund will have a balance of $5,020,000 and will be fully funded. The remaining general fund unassigned fund balance of $16,543,243 represents the 30% optimum reserve level as outlined in the town reserve policy of $7,921,855, the $3,504,000 in the debt repayment fund for the future pay down of the remaining general fund debt principal. That's the item that Howard was talking about previously, and $5,056,844 reserves to support the FY27 and future budgets. The recommendation is that council approve the strategic reserve transfer of $114,000 to the Budget Stabilization Fund.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Dyke. Aye. Councilmember Olinger.
Aye.
Mayor Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Ramikis.
Aye.
Councilmember Russell.
Aye.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Short.
Aye.
Councilmember Sternberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Yao.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. County and County Interaction Committee. Council will discuss potential items for discussion at the next Interaction Committee meeting scheduled for May 22nd, 2026. Culpeper County Fire Inspector. Does anyone else have anything to add or discuss on this?
No other topics.
No one? All right, thank you. Town Manager Monthly Report. Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, under the zoning permits, I don't think it's that complicated, it's just kind of an odd thing there. Okay, 410 South Main Street, installation of a wall sign and a 35 square foot ground-mounted, non-conforming sign for the future Howdies. How is it non-conforming?
Sorry, I'm just trying to find the specific
Yeah.
one. Would you mind just give me the date? Just, that's the easiest way for me to reference it.
April 23rd.
Mm-hmm. I apologize. Off the top of my head, I don't recall the specifics of that one. I'll follow up and get back to council with that.
All right. Anyone have anything else? If not, we are adjourned.